Alright, today we're going to be talking about the 8th grade transformations final. So what I'm going to do is anytime we have an original figure, or the pre-image, that's going to be drawn in black. Anytime we do one transformation, that's going to be written in blue. And if we have to do a second transformation for anything, that's going to be written in red. So, first thing is we want to graph triangle ABC. Number 1, -4, -4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 backwards and down 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is A. B is at -2, -3. 1, 2, 3. Here's B. And C is at -4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then up 2. Common mistake we saw was going down 2. So this is my original triangle or the pre-image. It says then to translate 5 units to the right and 3 units up, which means I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. And remember, any time that we do a transformation, we add a prime symbol. That was a common mistake we saw as well. For A, we go up 1, 2, 3 and to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here is A prime. And then B prime is up 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. Here is B prime. So my new triangle, or the image of the triangle, looks like that. And then the coordinates of that would be A prime is at 1, -1. B prime is at 3, 0. And C prime is at 1, 5. Number 2, quadrilateral WXYZ, and then reflect over the x-axis. So W is at -3, -4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's W. X is at 0, -3. So down 1, 2, 3. That's X. Y is at -1, 1. Here's Y. And Z is at -4, -1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and -1. Here is Z. So here is my quadrilateral. It says to reflect over the x-axis. Common mistake we saw is we reflected everything here, but not this one. Not Y. We need to make sure we do it for all of them. So here's Z, here's W, here's Y, and here's X. So this is Z prime, this is W prime, this is Y prime, and this is X prime. So our shape should look like that. Common mistake we saw also is reflecting over the Y-axis. It says to reflect over the X-axis. So as we go through this, W prime is now at -3, 4. X prime is at 0, 3. Y prime is at -1, -1. And then Z prime would be at -4, 1. Question number 3, top of the next page. It says, find the coordinates after a dilation with a scale factor of 3. It means that we multiply every single number by 3. So let's just look at H. H prime would be 5 times 3, which is 15, and 8 times 3, which is 24. In fact, the only one that deals with an H prime of 15, 24 is A, so it has to be A. Number 4, reflect over the y-axis and then rotate the image 180 degrees. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use tracing paper, but first I need to reflect over the y-axis. This here is the y-axis. So B prime would be here, C prime would be here, and A prime would be here. Next thing I want to do is I want to reflect over, or rotate over the origin 180 degrees clockwise. Common mistake we saw was only doing the reflection or only doing the rotation. So I'm going to use a piece of tracing paper that I got, and I'm going to use this just like we did it in class. So again, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trace over the image. Again, we're looking at A prime, B prime, C prime. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to trace that triangle, making sure to label where everything is. And then because we're going about the origin, I'm going to draw an arrow pointing up from that origin. Now, when we do a clockwise rotation, we go in this direction here. And 180 degrees means that my arrow, instead of pointing up, will be pointing straight down. So I'm going to put my pen right on the point, and I'm going to rotate it so the arrow is pointing down. I'm then going to remove the piece of paper carefully. So here is C prime. That's C prime. In fact, it's double prime because it's our second transformation. B prime was here, so this is now B double prime. And then A prime is here, so this is now A double prime. And my new triangle looks like this, with vertices of -4, -3 for A double prime. B double prime is at -1, -4. And C double prime is at -2, -1. Common mistake seen here is we mixed up either B double prime and C double prime, or we did not label correctly. Number 5, which one represents a reflection over a vertical line segment? That'd be letter C. If there were A, the lightning bolt would have to be closer to the top here, and flipped around. This one would have to be, this would be flipped around. C is the correct answer. Next question. This is going to be number 6 on the top of the next page. It says to graph quadrilateral GHK or JK with those vertices, and then graph its image after a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation about vertex J. So G is at 0, 3. Here's G. H is at 2, 3. Here's H. J is at 3, 1. And K is at -1, 1. So my quadrilateral, in fact, is a trapezoid. It looks like that. 9 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. Sorry, not about the origin, about the vertex J. So I'm going to use my piece of tracing paper again. Then I'm going to trace. I'm going to label each vertex as such. And then I'm going to have an arrow pointing up from vertex J because that's my point of rotation. 90 degrees counterclockwise means I go in this direction now. And my arrow should be pointing to the left. So I'm going to hold my pen at the rotation point and move until the arrow is pointing left. I'm going to hold my pen over each point. So here's K. So this would be K prime. Same thing, continue this process. This would be G prime. This would be H prime. And then this point would also be J prime. So my new figure looks like this. G prime is at 1, -2. H prime is at 1, 0. J prime is still at 3, 1. And K prime is now at 3, -3. Common mistake we saw was rotating it either clockwise or about the origin. Number 7, the triangle ABC, it's translated 7 units to the right and 5 units down. So let's go ahead and do each one of these vertices that way. So A, 7 units to the right which means that we add 7 to 4. So A prime would become 11. And negative 7, 5 units down, means we subtract it. So negative 7 minus 5 is negative 12. So it cannot be A or C. B prime, again, we add 7, so 5 plus 7 is 12. And negative 6 minus 5 is negative 11. That means that B cannot be it because this is negative 2. So it has to be letter D. Next question, number 8. Graph the triangle and dilate it with a scale factor of 2. So first of all, D is at negative 2, negative 2. Here's D. E is at 4, 0. Here's E. And F is at negative 1, 2. So here's F. So my triangle looks like this. If we dilate it, that means we multiply. Most common mistake was seen adding. So D prime would be at negative 2, negative 2. Multiply by 2, so it would be negative 4, negative 4. Here's D prime. E prime was at 4, 0. Multiply both of those by 2s would be at 8, 0. So this is E prime. And F prime, negative 1, 2. Multiply by 2 gets me negative 2, 4. So here's F prime. So I'm going to draw my triangle as such. Going ahead and doing this now would be negative 4 for D prime. E prime would be at 8, 0. And F prime would be at negative 2, 4. Next question, number 9. It says quadrilateral JKLM has those vertices. What would it be after reflection across the y-axis? Remember, when we reflect over the y-axis, the y values stay the same, the x values change. So J prime would become 4, 4. Now the only one that deals with 4, 4 is going to be letter C. Number 10, she rotated this puzzle piece 180 degrees clockwise, which means everything is going to appear as its opposite. 180 degrees is always the opposite, which means that this point sticking out is going to be up. This indented part is going to be on the bottom. So that has to be letter A. Number 11, dilate with a scale factor of 1/2, and then we translate 3 units left and 2 units down. So, multiply each one of these by 1/2. A is at 2, 6. Multiply each one of those by 1/2, so A prime would be at 1, 3. B is at 6, 2, which means that multiply each one of those by 1/2, we get 3, 1. And then C is at 2, 2, so C prime becomes 1, 1. So I have this triangle now here. Next one, it says translate 3 units left and 2 down. So 3 left and 2 down means I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So here's A double prime. B double prime, 1, 2, 3 to the left, 1, 2 down. And C double prime, 1, 2, 3 to the left, 1, 2 down. So my new triangle looks like that. And then label the vertices of the final image. So A double prime is at negative 2, 1. B double prime is at 0, negative 1. And C double prime is at negative 2, negative 1. Common mistake we saw here was, again, just doing either the scale factor or the translation. But we need to make sure we do both. Next question, number 12, top of the next page. It says, if the figure below is rotated 270 degrees counterclockwise about the origin, what are the coordinates of M? Well, we can use that handy-dandy tracing paper, wherever I put it. Here it is. And if we simply did this, here is point M. We're going about the origin. 270 counterclockwise, which means we're going to be going in this direction, and the arrow should be pointing to the right now. So I'm going to hold my pen, I'm going to move and rotate until I get the arrow pointing to the right. So M is right here now. So this is where M prime would be. That's at 2, -1, which is B. Number 13, the ordered pair R is translated 5 units to the right and 2 units down. So we're asking about rotation or transformation notation. So if it's 5 units to the right, that means we're going to be attaching that to the X. And 5 units to the right means that it's plus, we're adding. So that would be only letter D. Number 14. Projector transforms the image on a computer screen so that it is 28 inches by 35 inches. If the original the computer screen was 8 inches by 10 inches, is it an enlargement or reduction? First of all, when we figure out what the scale factor is, we do the new divided by the old. So we're going to pick the first dimension here. That's this 28 and this 8. So the new dimension is 28, the old dimension is 8. I can start solving this, so I can start simplifying. There's a common factor of 4 here. 28 divided by 4 is 7. 8 divided by 4 is 2. I can then get this into be a mixed number. There are 3 2's that I can pull out of 7, because that's 6. And then I have 1 of those 2's left over. So my scale factor is 3.5. And because this number is larger than 1, this is an enlargement. Common mistake seen here was 28 divided by 35. Or what we did here was instead of 28 divided by 8, we did 8 divided by 28. All right, last couple of questions here. Number 15, this is the find the error. So Katie was told to reflect the figure ABCD. And then rotate it 90 degrees counter or clockwise. So what I like to do, and I suggest you do the same, is to go through and do the work yourself and see where yours differs from Katie. So the original figure is here. So this is A, B, C, and D. And again, this is A, B, C, and D. It says to reflect over the x-axis. So that means that I should have A, B, C, and D here. And this would be A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime. But that's not what Katie did. She reflected it over the y-axis. She also made some mistakes when it came to labeling these vertices. So C should go closer to A. Actually, all these vertices are backwards. She kept the vertices in the same place when she should have had this be A prime, this should have been B prime, this should have been C prime over here, this should have been D prime. So she mixed up all of her vertices, and she reflected over the x-axis. Next, it says to do a 90-degree clockwise rotation about the origin. So let's use our tracing paper. So again, this is A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime, and we're going to rotate it about the origin. 90 degrees clockwise means I go in this direction here. So I'm going to grab this. Arrow should be pointing to the right. Like that. And then if I remove the tracing paper so as to put my vertices in, this would be A double prime, B double prime, C double prime would be down here, and then D double prime would be here. So now she has her answer down in this area, which is weird because she reflected over the wrong axis. So what she should have done is, if she rotated this correctly, it should have been back on top of this figure here. So she not only reflected it wrong, she rotated it wrong as well. And finally, my vertices should be A double prime is at 1, negative 2. B double prime should have been at 1, negative 3. C double prime should have been at, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, so negative 3, negative 4. And D double prime should have been at 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1, so negative 4, negative 1. Let's look at the spiral review now. So, number 16, solve this equation. So, first of all, what we have to do is we have to undo the distributive property. So, I'm going to do this up here. But we have 8 times x and 8 times 7. And we have 7 times x, 7 times 7. Let me bring the 49 with, or the negative sign with. Next thing, all variables on one side, all numbers on the other side. So I'm going to subtract 7x from both sides because this side has the larger variable. So this would just be x plus 56 equals negative 49. Subtract 56 from both sides, so I get x equals negative 105, and that's letter D. Number 17, which expression is equivalent to 6x to the 5th times negative 2x to the 7th? Well, let's multiply the 6 and negative 2 to get negative 12. And then since we're multiplying powers that have the same base and different exponents, we add the exponents. So 5 plus 7 is 12, so it should be letter B. Next 3 questions, last 3 questions. Number 18, we're looking at finding the domain. So the domain is all the x values written from least to greatest. So negative 2 would be first. In fact, that would have to be letter A. Number 19, what is the equation that represents this data set? First of all, let's find the slope. Slope is change in y divided by change in x. 4 to 7 is a plus 3. 1 to 2 is a plus 1, so my slope should be 3x. So far I have 3x. So A and B are out. Next thing I need to do is find what y is when x equals 0. So I want to put in a 0 in my table. Because 0 to 1 is 1. Now what plus 3 is 4? Well, that'd be 1. So I should have y equals 3x plus 1, which would be letter C. And number 20. This is a problem from our most previous final. The following side lengths will make a right triangle. 9 centimeters, 13 centimeters, 16 centimeters. True or false? Well, we have to use the Pythagorean theorem. We have to see if those 3 side lengths make this equation true. So the 9 and 13 get in place of the A and B. So this is 9 squared and 13 squared. And then 16 goes in for C. So 9 squared is 81, 13 squared is 169, and 16 squared is 256. If I add this side together, because this side should equal this side. So 81 and 169, add together, 9 plus 1 is 0, 8 plus 6 is 14, plus 1 is 15. So this is 250 equals 256. That's not true, so it has to be false. Alright, that's the end of the finals video. If you have any questions, please let me know.